So verse number 9, second chapter, Sanjay Vacha. Sanjay Vacha Evamukta Rishikesham Gudakesha Parantapa Nayotsya iti Govindam Uktva Tushnim Babhuvaha. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Ashocchanan Vashocchasvam Pragyavadangscha Bhashase Gatasuna Gatasungscha Nanushocanti Pandita Natvevaham Jatu Nasam Natvam Neme Janadipa Nachaiva na bhavishyama sarve vayamata param dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara prapti dhirastatra namunyati matra sparshastu kaunteya Shitoshna Sukha Dukkhada Agamapayino Nitya Sankitiksha Yam hina vyatayanti te Purusham Purusharashabha Samadukha Sukham Dhiram Somritatvaya Kalpate Nasato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate sata ubhayorapi drishyonta stanayostatvadarshibhi avinashitu tatvedhi yena sarvamidam tatam vinashamavyayasyasya na kaschit kartumarhati Anta ime deha nityasyukta sharirinaha anashino prameyasya tasmat yudhyasva bharata. So today also, like last time, it is quite a serious discussion, and I would request you to concentrate on every subject we will be discussing. So last time we have done this verse, Matra Sparshastu Kaunteya Shita Ushna Sukha Dukkha Daga Agamapayina Anitya Tam Titikshasva Bharata. So, contacts of the organs, sense organs with the objects are producers of happiness and sorrow through cold and heat and all other such opposites. And what is their nature? They are transient. They have a beginning and end. So bear them, O descendant of Bharata, O Arjuna, bear with them. So we are bound to encounter the pairs of opposites till we are alive. Not even this birth, next birth also, all the forthcoming births. But we should know them for what they are. They are transient and ultimately of no consequence, because things which come and then go, according to Vedanta, they don't deserve our attention at all. So bear them and continue to strive for only one thing. What is that? Attainment of that which never comes, which never goes. Supreme knowledge. So today we will discuss the next verse, but first we have to understand the connection of the 15th verse with this verse. So he is talking about the highest state here. And he says, we will see in the next verse, we have already encountered the word dhira. We have to become what is called in the scriptures dhira. Who is a dhira? One who can endure heat and cold, union and separation, and all other pairs of opposites. Who is not easily shaken. That is the thing. We are now constantly being shaken. So, one who runs after every gust of wind, after every sound, always influenced by something, always being drawn out. So suppose we have made a routine that evening we have to sit for worship. One friend calls, let's go out to eat. Bas. Leave everything, go. Outing with the friends or any other pastime. So if we are shaken by everything and we have no determination at all, then we can never seriously engage in any contemplation at all. Never. So dhira is who? He is one who is not tossed about by every breeze, scorched by every little kind of heat, frozen by every kind of cold, or entangled in every kind of problem of the world. So dhira means one who can endure, who can wait, who is patient, who is steady, whose mind moves steadily in a single direction. So, like last time one person had asked that how to combine selfless work with this kind of attitude. So this doesn't mean becoming unfeeling, far from it. Actually, a dhira is one who feels intensely. That is why he is ready to give up everything in the world to be free, because he feels. We don't feel at all. It is the worldly people who are like stones. They suffer intensely when they have to give anything. So, this does not mean that we have to become unfeeling. Those who have wealth should share it according to their capacity. Those who can give food should give it. Those who can provide medicine should do so. As far as possible, one should keep giving. This should be a natural part of one's life. But what is being said here is, one must carefully guard one thing, one's inner composure. That is the thing. So, do not burden your minds, a saint has said. Do not burden your minds, your small heart and small mind, with the sorrows of the entire world. God is there to take care of His world. So it has become now, it is a fad now. Now, or previously it was there. Only after coming here I am acquainted with all these things. So expressing great sorrow over a tragic incident to everybody. So where is all this sorrow coming from? Sorrow is inverted commas. We can't sit still. We have to either watch TV or some other thing to know about the whole world. It has become an addiction. And then what do we do after hearing every kind of thing which we don't need to hear? We will go on talking and trying to show how deeply we feel for the whole world. You know, this and this happened, I felt so sad. And the next day they will be distributing sweets for their son's birthday. They will be celebrating grandson's birth. So all this feeling is just hypocrisy. If we actually feel, we will develop an aversion for all this the world which has to offer. It will cause a permanent change in one's life. So what we should do is to serve when the opportunity arises, but without allowing grief or delusion to take root in our hearts. Serve as an act of worship to God. Serving this way is called karma yoga. True feeling is different. What here we are talking about is when we think something should happen in the world and it doesn't happen. So, if we work in this way, our steadiness will not be lost. Then we will be able to look within and discover the reality. We will be able to see what is inside. A luminous, all-pervading intelligence shines inside. And when we progress and we really become spiritual, one after many births maybe, then only our lives will be a blessing for the whole world. So the next verse is dedicated to the answer to this question. When Shri Krishna says, you should endure, bear steadily, then there must be a reason. The answer, what is the fruit of such endurance, then has to be given. Whenever a scripture says something, they don't leave any discussion in mid-air. They will always give the reason, always give the logic. So what is the reason? If someone asks Krishna, why should we endure? Then he gives the answer in this verse. So please repeat after me, as usual, quarter by quarter. Yam hina vyathayante te purusham purusharshabha samadukha sukham dhiram somritatvaya kalpate. So as usual we will just see the words first. He Purusharshabha. Krishna is telling Arjuna, Purushanam Rishabha iti Purusharshabha, the best of men. And after that, Yam Dhiram Purusham Sukham Dukkham Cha. Cha is not there, you have to understand. It is understood by the Samadukha Sukham Dhiram is a whole samas. So, that wise man, Dhiram Purusham, we have discussed who is a Dhira. Who is Sama? Who is the same? In what? Sukha and Dukkha. Both equal in distress and happiness. Ete nahi vyathayanti. Vyathayanti means coming from, we can relate it to the Hindi word vyatha. Vyatha means affliction. So, those whom these do not afflict, what do not afflict? Sukha, Dukkha and all the other dualities. Vyatha is from the root Vyat. Each root has a meaning. So the root is Bhaya. Bhaya and Chalanayo. Chalan means here to be perturbed. One meaning is Bhaya, one meaning is to be perturbed. That is called Vyatha. So this Vyat, it comes from root Vyat, this Vyathayanti. So he is not perturbed by all these things, the Dhira Purusha. And then he becomes eligible for one thing. What? The highest achievement which human life can give. Amritatvaya kalpate. He becomes eligible for attaining immortality. not before. Only when he reaches this state. So the translation of the whole verse can be said to be the dhira, calm man. It is translated as calm, but problem is there is no word for that. So that's why I am using the original word, dhira only. Dhira, who remains unchanged in pain and pleasure, whom these cannot disturb, alone is able, O greatest of men, means Arjuna, to attain immortality. So he alone, not anybody else. So happiness and sorrow is suggestive of all the dualities in the world and also all the modifications in the mind. On a collective scale, it is the happenings of the world, dualities. But what bothers us is the reaction they have on their mind, our mind. So now there can be a question raised, and a very valid question may be raised, that God is telling us to endure. By enduring, He says we will be able to attain the highest goal, supreme goal. But mere endurance, how can it lead to that goal? So we are seeing people in winter also, they will be working on the road, terrible cold, terrible heat in India. So they are also fair-bearing. But they don't attain the highest goal. So that kind of forbearance under compulsion is not meant here. They don't want to, but they are forced to. This is the reply. So reply is that forbearance merely is not meant here. That kind of forbearance which a dhira attains is a very high state. It is understood that it is accompanied by viveka, discrimination, vairagya, dispassion, and other spiritual disciplines. Then it becomes meaningful. So in Vedanta, there is what is called sadhan chatushtaya. Chatur means, four it means. So, fourfold spiritual disciplines. Without that, one does not even acquire the fitness to understand Vedanta. What are those four things? First is viveka, discernment between the eternal and the non-eternal. Next is vairagya. When you understand what is not eternal, we have to give it up. Dispassion. Then 6 qualities. Shat sampatti. Mastery of the mind, control of the senses, withdrawal from distractions, endurance. See, endurance is mentioned here. Then shraddha, faith. And then samadhana, one-pointed concentration. And last of all, mumukshatva. That is the desire to be free. So when these 3 vivek, vairagya and shat sampatti are not there, mumukshatva will never arise. We can be sure of that. So such a person who has undergone all these disciplines, and in him the freedom, desire for freedom is very great, he forbears correctly, and that forbearance is meant here. This is the thing. So we will see all that. And such a person is called dhira or dhimantam. Dhimantam means a man of steady understanding. So all these virtues have to be gained by long practice and renunciation. It won't come before that. Being already established in those noble qualities, one becomes qualified for understanding the supreme truth which is mentioned in the Upanishads. Before that, we can hear 100,000 times. Nothing will happen. So Purusharshava, why is Arjuna called the best of men? Because he is aspiring after the highest knowledge. Those who aspire after the highest are the highest. And next is, we have seen sama dukkha sukham dhiram. So dhira remains even-minded in pleasure and pain. So it is in the experience of pleasure and pain, dhira understands that his conscious self functions as a cause only as far as it is identified with the mind and body. But when the self abides in its true nature, there is no longer anyone who can experience pleasure and pain. So we will see all this. It looks a little difficult, but we will go into detail. This means actually to him, he is fully aware that sama dukkha sukham dhiram, pleasure and pain are adventitious. They are coming from outside. So because he understands this, him yam na vyathayante, they do not afflict him because of this reason. They don't have the power to shake that person. Why do we experience distress when these things come? We become unsettled. Why? Because we are deviating from our true nature. Saints tell us that you are immortal, yet you take yourselves to be subject to death. You are of the nature of knowledge, yet you regard yourself as insentient, inert. You are of the nature of bliss, yet you believe yourself to be sorrowful. So they ask us, why, having abandoned your true nature, why do you insist on seeing yourself as mortal, ignorant, and unhappy? Why is it happening? They tell us the cause, because by ourselves we cannot know. They tell us what is happening with you is someone by force, as if, has pulled you away from your own self. You have been displaced from your true nature. That is why all these problems are coming. What or who has done this? There is only one cause, they say. The contact of your sense organs with the objects has made you attached. Contact will be there. You cannot avoid that. But that attachment should be avoided. If that attachment is there, not there, then it doesn't matter. So we will describe all these things. A concrete example. Some people go, which you will especially people will understand. Some people become so accustomed to hotel food, going out here and there, that their tongue no longer appreciates the food prepared at home. So they are going away and away from their home. Who has driven them away from their own home? The hotel food. Some people are so fond of going here and there. Today here, Europe, tomorrow America, day after go somewhere else. Not for any work. Just because they can't sit still. So what has drawn them away? These desires to see this place, that place, and of course, afterwards you have to give on Facebook, otherwise your life is not worth anything. So this is what draws us away, taking some mundane examples. So when we fail to experience within ourselves the joy, the light, our real nature, and instead we seek pleasures from external objects, then those external things drag us outwards. They pull us away from our own selves and make us extroverts. So we no longer relish the joy of the self. We prefer the distractions which the world has to offer. These are just distractions, nothing else. And this is surely 100% the path that leads to sorrow. It has to, today or tomorrow. So what does the Upanishad say? Tameva dhiro vigyaya pragyam kurvita brahmana. These are very, very famous Upanishadic statements actually. So, tam eva dhira. A dhira should, having known what? That. What? Supreme reality. Then pragyam kurvita. After that, he should keep his wisdom firmly established in that alone and not allow it to wander outside. Gyatva dhiro harsha shoko jahati. See, the word dhira is coming again and again. We get all the shades of meaning. Gyatva, knowing that, dhira jahati, he gives up. Gives up what? Harsha, happiness and pleasure. He gives both. Gives up both. So, who remains unmoved by the contact of sense objects? Only one who is a dhira, who does not lose his inner steadiness in the most adverse circumstances also. So here there is no question of opinion. There is no question of votes. Here elections, people, leaders are chosen by vote. So here if you take the vote of others, that 100 people are telling the opposite. One person is telling, 100% are telling, oh, then what remains in your life if you don't go out after the external objects. But here there is no question of vote. If you take the vote of ordinary persons or your senses, their vote will always be in favor of running towards worldly objects. So in this case, there is no such option. Scriptures and teachers don't make decision based on votes of their disciples. The disciple must remain aligned with their guidance. That is the thing. Now see, two words are used in this verse which are very interesting. See, all these insights are absolutely tremendous insights, and only saints can give us this insight. And since most of you know Hindi or any other Indian language, it will be easier for you to relate. So see, two words are there. Dukkha. Another word is Vyatha. Now generally we use them interchangeably. Dukkha, what is Dukkha? Vyatha. Here it sounds strange. The verse is saying that to a dhira, dukkha will not cause vyatha. It appears to make no sense. He is saying that, to English if you want to translate, you cannot really translate. In English if you want to say what is being said here, a dhira is one whom sorrow cannot afflict. So what does this mean here? This means that dukkha and vyatha are not the same things. They are not the same feeling. What is the difference between them? See, this does not mean that a dhira doesn't experience happiness and misery. He doesn't experience cold and heat. Even when God comes down, he experiences all this. He also needs warm clothing. So this is not the meaning. These are experienced exactly as they are. Pleasure appears as pleasure, even to a saint. Pain appears as pain. Pain does not seem pleasure. Cold does not seem to be heat. So, But it is said, although he experiences sorrow, he is not afflicted. But we are afflicted. Why? A dhira is not afflicted because he does not take these experiences to be a part of himself. That is the reason. Consider an example. We read in the newspaper that a bomb exploded somewhere. 5 people or 10 people were killed on account of that. So on account of this we may feel sorrow, but we won't be afflicted. We may feel sorrow for 5-10 minutes, but our hands and feet don't grow cold. We don't stop going out for a job. But if we come to know that our some relative, wife, brother, husband or whatever is killed, that is not merely sorrow. There is affliction as well. See, event is same in both cases. Death has occurred. Yet, one type of death produces just sorrow which does not last long. Another type of death produces affliction. The limbs may grow cold. The chest feels constricted. Why? Sorrow is present in both the cases. In one case, sorrow turns into affliction because of only one reason: self-identification. In the second case, there is an identification with those people as mine. Therefore, sorrow intensifies into affliction. When there is no personal identification, sorrow cannot produce affliction. This is the thing. Same principles is applied to cold and heat. Sorrow will be experienced by the body, but the affliction is experienced more by the mind. That is the thing. See, such wonderful examples they give. Now, in India, many people go and bathe. Even in the winter months, they sometimes bathe in the river in the case of some special religious occasion. Now, suppose one is forced for some reason to go in winter and have a bath in the river. He'll be completely, grumbling, this, that, so much terrible, I have to suffer, this and that. That is affliction. But sometimes in winter months, people take a dip in the Ganga at 4 in the morning on special occasions. Religious merit they are seeking. I think Makar Sankranti, all those things. Then they will be feeling the cold as before, but they will be cheerful. There will be no affliction. Sorrow is there because they are feeling cold, but there is no affliction. See how wonderfully they have analyzed. Unbelievable. So, a dhira is not one who does not experience these things. He has to experience till you have a body. But although he experiences, since he is not identified with what we have described as upadhis, something which is not our nature, we think ourselves to be that. Since he knows that these things are not part of his own nature, there is no identification. Therefore, there is no affliction. So, liberation eligibility to gain immortality depends on freedom from affliction, not freedom from experience. Experience has to be there. So what is the case with them? Why do they perform how can they perform this miracle? Because their vision is fixed only on one thing, on God, on equanimity. So the knowledge of pleasure arising from favorable conditions occurs. But since that pleasure is not enjoyed in the sense of identification, there is no lasting sanskara, impression in the mind of that pleasure. That is the thing. So someone is not asking for something. He gets it due to some karma, some delicious item to eat or something else, whatever. He has not asked for it. He does not want it. It has come, perchance he partakes of that. He is not identified with that pleasure. He is not seeking after it. He is not greedy after it. Similarly with pain also. Pain may come, but no enduring impression of pain is formed in that mind. So pain and pleasure don't overpower him in this way. That is the thing. And it has also been said that for the one whom these do not afflict, pleasure and pain become equal. Sama, dukkha, sukha. Sama means equal. Again the question will come. How can this be? You yourself said that pain will be pain, pleasure will remain pleasure. So what does equality mean here? See, these are such deep insights. We can never have an idea of these words till we take the help of these saints. So one moment you say that he will experience pleasure as pleasure, pain as pain. Now you are saying he'll be equal in both these things. He will see them as equal. How? What does it mean? From what standpoint can different things be said to be equal? Now see how they've explained. Amazing. The same thing can be seen on different occasions in different ways, depending on our viewpoint. How? Now I request you to pay attention. See, there is a census more or less in every country. Census means what? The whole population is counted. Whole population will be counted, it will be told so many million people. Now when that census is counting everybody, men and women are regarded as the same. They are just human beings. They only want the number of human beings. So men and women are same, is it not? But suppose there is another count on the basis of gender, then both will become different. So viewing from one angle, they are same. Viewing from another angle, they are different. Again, if you want to divide people according to the jobs they do, then again, men and women who will be doing the same job, they will be regarded as same. So when we say that Canada has about 40 million people, it does not mean, when we are counting all people, it does not mean that women are seen as men or men are seen as women. The distinctions remain exactly as they are. But from the standpoint from which the inquiry is made, similarity is perceived in both men and women. Because we are counting them as human beings. And as human beings, both are same. So, in the same way, pain will remain pain to a dhira. Pleasure will remain pleasure. Agreeable will remain agreeable. Disagreeable will remain disagreeable. Then, what is the standpoint from which they will appear to be same to him? And this answer is the main significant point in this verse. their sameness will arise from the fact, in his eyes, by the fact that they are both pain and pleasure, something which he is just witnessing. In that way, both will be the same. In Sanskrit, it is called drishya. That which you are seeing as apart from yourself, that is drishya. One who sees is drashta. What is seen is drishya. So because he sees both pleasure and pain as something other than him, both are same to him in that sense. What is seen by me can never be I. Is it not? I see this table, I see this chair, I see this room, so I cannot be these things. So he sees, the Dhira sees that happiness and pleasure caused by cold and heat or any other thing, they are all drishya only, they are experienced. They are just objects like any other table, chair or anything. And they come and go. In that sense, they are both the same. So this table and chair are the same. As table and chair, they are not the same. But when you say, if you say what objects are illumined by the light in this room, then you say all the objects. So are you not considering everything as same? Why? Because all are illumined by the light. So here also he sees that all these things are illumined by the light of the self. So in that sense, they are all same. Absolutely astounding insight. So after one becomes a Dhira, black will not appear as red. Pleasure will not appear as pain. Equality lies where? Both will be known as appearances. For him, both are objects in his awareness. Dhira sees them thus and stands apart. And what is the difference between a Dhira and us? We become those things. We become happy. We don't see happiness as something outside us. We become happy. Sorrow is not something outside us. We become sorrowful. So, our happiness and sorrow causes affliction. Why? Because of identification. Now you will say, how does happiness cause affliction? Happiness will cause affliction. The worldly happiness has to be followed by sorrow. Nobody can avoid it. So finally it will cause affliction. So all the dualities are treated alike by the Dhira, the wise one. But it can only be done when, through the practice of titiksha, which is endurance, we stop reacting to cold and heat, pleasure and pain as we do. A raise in salary, we start dancing. Any small gain, we start celebrating sweets. So every time we react in this way, what are we saying actually to ourselves? That I am this mind and body. Because all these are happening to the mind and body, no? So when we are saying this, we are reacting in this way, we are always reinforcing this false identification. Salary increase means the mind and body will have more comforts, more enjoyments. The self is certainly not affected by the raise in salary. The mind and body are influenced, So when we are happy means we are saying to ourselves, I am the mind and body. So even if the scriptures teach us something, it won't have any effect. Even if a physician may give us excellent medicine, if we don't take it properly, what good the medicine will do? In the same way, if we again and again strengthen this identification, I am the body, I am the mind, by indulging in all sorts of worldly things, then after the whole day, you sit for 10 minutes and complain, why is my mind not being focused? How can that conviction arise? The whole day you have told your mind something false. Now in the evening some magic will happen? It cannot happen. Therefore, only when we stop reacting and practice titiksha, when we realize that these pleasurable sensations are not to be actively sought for, then we become fit to attain immortality. If there is desire, even the slightest desire, reaction is inevitable. No chance of evading it. We can hide it, but inside it is there. So merely enduring, merely titiksha will not itself give us immortality. Merely enduring at the same time harboring all sorts of desires. With that state of mind we cannot even practice spiritual disciplines. Impossible. Mind is always whirling, thinking about gain and loss. So titiksha has to be supported by all these sadhan chatushtaya. Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhi, Sampatti, and of course last of all Mokshatva. So in the Upanishads these are stated. Shanta, Danta, Uparata, Stitikshu, Samahito, Bhutva, Atmani, Atmanam Pashyati. Becoming calm, self-controlled, withdrawing, enduring and concentrated, the Dhira beholds the self in his own self alone. So in the last verse which we discussed last time, Krishna says that worldly objects and circumstances through favorability and unfavorability give rise to pleasure and pain. But they come and go. They are not eternal. They are impermanent. The very moment they arise, their dissolution begins. So you start eating something, you start eating sweets or anything else you may like, you won't feel the same joy after eating 3 sweets. It has already started diminishing. After you started eating, it has started diminishing. The moment these unite with us, their separation begins. They were not there before, they will not be there later. And even now, they are constantly slipping into non-existence, always going away. So by indulging in them, we only spoil our nature. And after a stage, what happens? This becomes a habit. So, we become only fit for this world then. No question of attaining liberation. If our interest is only in enjoyment, then why should God give us liberation? He gives us what we want. Simple as that. So, this is said about the Dhira. The Dhira means he is practically knocking at the door of immortality, highest experience. Maybe one in a millions or millions can even glimpse that state. For us, what is the lesson here? People, ordinary people. Renunciation has to be there. There is no if and but about it. No compromise on that score. Along with that, how should we treat this pleasure and pain? We have to learn from both. In pleasure, remind ourselves that this will stay only for a moment. It will not last long. In pain, remind ourselves that pain is inevitable till we identify ourselves with the mind and body. If you want to get rid of pain, you have to become Dhira. There is no other way. This is learning from these experiences. But till we are actively indulging in satisfying those desires, then there is no question of learning. Mind is then in a crooked state. It has become corrupted. So we are thinking that to be the end in itself. That is the thing. So notice one thing here. Krishna does not simply say endure suffering. Endure suffering we can understand. He is also telling endure sukha, endure pleasure also. For us it seems strange, but it is not strange at all. For the spiritual seeker, pleasure is a greater obstacle than pain. Pleasure binds more strongly than sorrow. No one becomes attached to suffering. Suffering pushes a person away. Pain is a repelling force. People often lose faith in God or spiritual practice because of suffering. But pleasure binds a person tightly. Like DC and AC, direct current and alternating current. So one type of current will throw you away. But that is not so dangerous. The dangerous one is which will hold you. So pleasure is even more dangerous. Therefore, there is only one way out. Not to go seeking for these worldly pleasures. When it comes of itself, use them rightly. Learn from them. Then we will slowly acquire the capacity to rise from both. And then Amritatvaya Kalpate. We can become fit for seeking the highest state. Once this capability arises, inevitably the result will be realized. There is no question of delay. Because immortality is not something you have to catch from outside and bring. It is always there. The obstacles are these. Once the obstacles are gone, that was always there. The only thing required is the fitness to realize that. So, we have to start from where we are. That is the thing. And the nature of spiritual practice is this. For people like us, the most important thing is this. Whatever you wish to become, you have to keep company accordingly and think accordingly. So those who want to get many dollars, you should associate it with rich persons. Business sense. They will tell you how to get more money in the fastest way. Those who want power should hobnob with the politicians. Hook or by crook, they will tell you how to get power. But if we desire the highest thing, we desire that the shadow of death also should not frighten us. If we want to remain untouched by sorrow forever and ever, then from today itself, we have to cultivate this equanimity. An unattached person is one who strives, reflects, and acts with great awareness. He is always alert. One who has transcended the world, transcended the gunas, he remains established in his true nature. And when we discuss the lives of direct disciples, we are always seeing he is being operated upon. Last time we had seen Turiyananji, Trigunajitananji. Surgery is being made. Deep cuts are being made. There is not the slightest movement of any kind of muscle on their face. They have the power to completely detach themselves. So the question is, what do we want to become? Whatever the goal is, you have to start working for it. If you are satisfied with the parties and enjoy black hair today, brown hair tomorrow, green hair, no problem. Nobody has any problem. We can do that as long as you like. But this is only for those who aspire much, much higher. Then you have to proceed with determination. Suppose someone sets out on a pilgrimage, in India, those Badrika, Ashram and all these things are Rameshwaram, those are still very long way you have to travel. So if one goes there, wants to go there, along the way there are so many distractions, so many villages, so many cities. Don't stop to see all that. Don't stop on your journey. So, and don't always complain also. So someone is walking towards Badrinath, it is a very high. So when the path is level, he is walking happily. When the road starts becoming steep, he starts crying. That will not do. I can't go any further, so difficult, then don't go. Nobody asked you to go, is it not? So this type of attitude will not lead to any achievement at all, either worldly or spiritual. So Hindi they say, निकले थे हरि भजन को ओटन लगे कपास. It's a very famous, you will not be familiar with this of course. One set out to attain God, but ends up spinning a wheel. So spinning a wheel is, he spends time in all sorts of fruitless activity. We begin with a noble aspiration, but become sidetracked in 2 minutes by some irrelevant task. So this is actually mocking our tendency to lose focus so easily and get entangled in distractions. So this is the way. But you should remember, all of us should remember that these things are not easy. This is Sankhya Yoga, the second chapter of the Gita. Sankhya means Jnana. Jnana Yoga means he will tell of the highest state here. Highest state anybody on this earth can reach, because there is nothing higher. So naturally, these are very, very, there are very subtle principles, and even the awareness or the understanding is very difficult, let alone having a grasp of these things. It's itself very difficult. Because why? Because there is no preparation. Those things which have to be done, discrimination, renunciation, Shat Sampatti, we have not even started. So how can we have any idea? But of course, we have some spiritual inclination, otherwise we would not be here. So this is just like standing at the base of the mountain and glancing up at the peak. So at least we know where we are going and how much effort is required for that. And we know that just by a few days, few years, even maybe few births also, there is no cause for complaint. Path is long and hard. There is no doubt about that. It is only for brave persons, not for ordinary persons. We may fail 100 times, but in this there can be no permanent failure. In the world, you cannot succeed, because you are striving after something which is impossible. You are striving after worldly pleasure without pain. That can never come. So all the efforts are futile. But here there is no futile effort at all. One step ahead, you remain ahead till you don't stop trying. That is it. So this is what Shri Krishna tells us. And next verse is also, all these things are very serious. Next verse is also like that, because he is discussing the highest truths known to man. So it cannot be so easy. So anyway, let us stop here. I think you had enough, more than enough. Om Shanti 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 Hari